Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so in Hollywood, just left my favorite little spot, Chick-fil-A, which is funny because I didn't start going there until like literally 3 weeks ago, but I do like going there a lot now, getting whatever I like there. Today was a chicken club sandwich, very good. But yeah, man, online, I'm just looking at stuff that I'm seeing. Normally we talk about all that's going on in Gaza, and that's important, very important to me. But I got something else that I'm seeing that's frustrating as well. It's a little more local. We've talked about this a couple times on the channel as well, but no jumper, man. Just toying around with street politics and putting people in positions to not get along with one another who otherwise are trying to keep the peace, not only for the sake of their own friendships and relationships, but also that of the people around them. And I think for the sake of views, no jumper is putting some very, very serious circumstances at risk as it pertains to different people getting along with one another and what can trickle down from that. People's communities and how they view one another. Some stuff is not for the internet, man. It's just not. You can talk about the specifics of the situation if you feel like it. I'm not looking to do that. Who's involved, this, that, I don't know any of those people. All I can say is I know of those people. When it comes to those types of circumstances, people get hurt over the stuff that they're seeing on the internet right now. People say one wrong word. It could be really derogatory, and you know how people feel about derogatory terms, especially when it's considered you making fun of someone's dead loved ones or dead friends. I mean, if somebody slip up and say something and those two men come to an agreement that it was just a mistake and you egg it on with your platform, don't be surprised when people do violent things on camera on your platform. And that's what it really comes down to, man. I just don't like how my people, black people, are viewed on that platform. I get it, he's giving people opportunities, and a lot of people in the street are much smarter than what we would otherwise play them for, is to say, of course they know if it's on that platform, then it's probably just for entertainment. And I don't doubt that that could very well be what that is. But there are going to be some individuals who don't know that, who don't care about that. And that's what the platform is not respecting. It's the volatility of the minds who are not sharp. No pun intended. The minds who are not sharp. The minds who are not on point as it pertains to this is not something you want to crash out over. But for the sake of proving themselves to their community or posturing themselves against rival communities, they may feel it be necessary that they crash out over a word said by one guy over there that's directed to a derogatory disrespect toward my community or whatever the case may be. It's just, you cannot underestimate how fragile a lot of those circumstances are. And for someone who's not even involved in those circumstances, from an outsider coming in, stirring the pot, instigating as if it's high school or something, it's unfortunate for those who really are involved in those circumstances, those who really have people lost in those circumstances, those who don't really get to escape those circumstances without harsh consequences for themselves. I wouldn't walk into your place of business for which I don't know context of what people are doing and start stirring up relationships with other people saying he said this about you or you're going to let him get away with that, and not expect that energy is going to be turned at me eventually. Regardless of what my motivation is, eventually you're going to look at the person stirring the pot and you're going to find the vitriol for them because they're the ones stirring the pot. Not necessarily just that of the people involved who are being stirred, but eventually you're going to look at the ringleader of that situation and say, why are you doing this? And eventually that's going to happen. And not everybody is getting paid for that, for things to benefit in that way in their lives. It's not going to. So those who are getting paid need to also respect that. You're not necessarily kicking back dollars to every single body who may be offended by what is being said. And they may not see the fruit and just letting it slide just for content, because they're not in the content business. And I think that's why the streets and the internet do not mix. Because you may be able to pay off this section of the neighborhood, but that section of the neighborhood may not see any of that kickback, or maybe it might be some other things that get stirred up because of that arrangement. That makes things even more complicated for the people involved. And creating those complexities for those people, it's not something that should be taken lightly by those who are involved. Just because there's an opportunity to make $1 or $2. Things people do for money, man, it gets to a point where we gotta ask ourselves, what is it gonna cost us? Not every dollar is a good dollar, man. Not every bag's a good bag. I mean, you got situations where people barely getting along. People that lost their lives in the past and people trying to come together and be okay now. And then you got this stirred apart type of environment in this random year of 2024 where it's okay to do this. These things can have long lasting effects on the future of some of these people. Past the content era, past the social media era for which nobody can see past right now. People be in jail for 30, 40 years off of the consequences of the behaviors of these type of situations. And you're letting one person just stir the pot in such a way that allows for those consequences to fall upon the heads of those people while he gets to sit back and make money off of it. At some point in time, y'all got to end that. Not every bag is a good bag, man. Some of y'all gonna get caught up in things that ain't even been introduced to you yet. And that's what I worry about for my fellow Los Angelinos who are maybe a part of whatever they are a part of. They may not understand. They could bring Rico over here. They could round people up by the millions and put them away. You don't think that's possible? They already trying it in New York. They're trying it in Atlanta. You think they ain't gonna bring that west? At some point in time, you just gotta understand that they're probably preparing you for that right now by doing this. Getting everybody to claim this or claim that on camera. Get up and say what you're gonna do. Get up and speak on circumstances that otherwise should never be spoken of for those who want to remain free. I mean, you're seeing people slip up. Whether they realize that a person like myself who's not a part of that can recognize that or not. There were things said in this past circumstance that I just saw that aired yesterday that should not have been said on camera, let alone for anybody with a platform that big for all the people who are watching to see. It should not have been said. Things that could put 2 and 2 together for a smart conglomerate of people who want to put 300, 400 people away at once, like type of stuff, man. I don't think people really understand how that works. Even if they in it in a lot of cases, they don't understand the angles and what you can solve just by opening your mouth in a fit of rage. You'll solve things. You're answering questions they got. You're filling in faces on the board. You're giving them answers to things that they need to have put together. And it's like, if that's not your intention, boy, oh boy, oh boy, are you in trouble. You might as well just sit down in the Fed office and start spilling the beans, buddy. You might as well just start writing down everything you know and everybody, because that's exactly what you're doing when you sit on a platform like that in a fit of crash out energy and start saying some of the things that I was hearing being said. Like, bro, I don't know what's scripted and what's not, but you need to know that what you're saying is not harmless. And the thing that I ask those involved while they're in the middle of how they feel, you do understand that people are going to ask questions like, why wasn't that edited out? Why weren't certain things edited in such a way to where we never see those things so that certain circumstances can't get worse? And hopefully those who would act upon being offended in those behaviors will ask those questions. Hopefully they will. Like, that could have very easily been edited out, and we would have never heard about it, and nobody would ever had to react to it. Energy would never had to been passed back and forth between communities in no kind of way. But they chose not to edit that out. And those are the questions y'all need to be asking why to. Certain stuff should never be said. Certain stuff should never be heard. Some people still grieving. Some people still in the thick of the circumstance or whatever it may be. So you doing this for content, doing that for content. It leaves them people in positions to have to control themselves a little better than maybe they'd be capable of based on that. And that could trickle down to more trauma. It's just, I think that it's not only Adam who's responsible for all of this, but it's those players involved who are smart enough to know this, but are still going forward. They need to be held just as much as accountable as the person who's owning the whole damn thing. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't do what it does without you and those like you making it happen. And so if you're going to sit on this platform and politic all kinds of way, you got to know that people may not be wise enough to know that you're just making content. Some may think that you're being disrespectful. Some may be in their best interest to behave as if they think you're being disrespectful, even when they're smart enough to know that that's not what you're doing. And you leave the door open for that. Someone trying to prove themselves, or someone trying to put themselves in positions to angle a certain way for whatever their choice or reasons. It's just too much being toyed with by somebody who's not involved, who may even have a damn death wish and doesn't mind things bad going on around him because he don't care too much for himself. It's like when you align yourself with somebody like that, you better know what it is that he's willing to lose versus what it is that you don't want to lose and what you have to gain from what it is he's doing. Because you may not necessarily have all the angles in your mind that he has in his. And when it comes to that type of thing, it can become unsafe and very quickly. Very quickly. And we saw a little bit of that yesterday, whether they were playing around or not. Whether it was under control or not, scripted or not. Copycats may follow what you do and may not know that you scripted those things. May not care that you did and will want to copycat what he's done here. That can also be considered his fault if something were to trickle from a circumstance like that. Other clout chasers will want to, oh, that worked for no jumper. Let me get on here and get everybody on here talking. Even if it is under control, you are stirring the pot with something very volatile, something very dangerous, and something that can have reverberating effects in ways that you don't intend. And for that, while everybody's trying to ban TikTok, ban this, ban that, we need to be considering what can come of that. And maybe wouldn't it be wise for people to start regulating this type of thing? See, that's the point.
Explore more.
Something dangerous happens, and it's like, oh my God, we didn't intend for that. Somebody get hurt on camera. Oh my God, we didn't intend for that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, because everybody warned you that this would be what would happen from that. I'm warning you now. That's what could happen from that. And like I said, to me, it seemed like Adam got a wily, I don't care what happens type of attitude, martyr me for the sake of what I'm doing type of attitude. It's like not everybody want to lose their life over that type of stupid stuff, man. Not everybody want to go to jail for 30 years to make content for him. Y'all just got to grow up. Everybody in that situation needs to know, man, not every bag is good bag. Not every bit of attention is good attention, man. And not everybody who's paying you has good intentions. You get wrapped up in something that you can't undo, and then what? Then what? Men are separated from their families, daughters get raised by other men type stuff. Is that what y'all want? or don't get raised at all. As if we ain't had enough of that in our community. At some point in time, we gotta just look around and say, yo, man, this little baggy, man, y'all gonna risk it. Y'all ain't even gonna enjoy what you have because of what can trickle down from what it is that he's doing. And just like he's already done, when he's done with this group, he'll go find another bunch of crash dummies, clout chasers, man. He just find a handful of more to throw right back in there to be even more reckless than the first, man. At some point in time, you gotta grow. You understand that this ain't meant to benefit you. It's meant to benefit his business and what his business model is. And long after y'all locked away or put wherever you're gonna be, he's gonna still be somewhere else, changing the entire name of the brand with the money that he made off your backside, moving forward. So I'm telling y'all, man, at some point in time, we need to grow up as a community. Don't let that man toy around and spin around all types of stuff that can really hurt people in your life just so you can get the attention that comes from this random year that is 2024. Because that's exactly what it is. Everybody's clout chasing, everybody wants attention. This is gonna fade like bell bottoms. It's gonna fade, man, like boom boxes. And when it does, you're still gonna be living the consequences of those behaviors. At some point in time, we got to grow up on that. That's all I'm saying, man. This content is going to be lost in the cloud. People ain't even going to remember you did that, but you are going to be living with the consequences of what take place, or worse. For what? That's all I'm saying, man. So you can entertain a bunch of people that have nothing to do with what you're doing, who are halfway afraid to walk into your shoes, man. Get out of here with that. They don't even want to walk in your shoes. They look at you as a spectacle, like you're a bunch of action figures or some stupid stuff, man. They laughing at you because they can't seem to figure out why you would throw your lives away. They laughing at you because they don't know the first thing about the context of what goes on in your community or the pain that you go through. Nor do they respect it from their perspective. So for me, it's like, man, stop letting people toy with you. Stop letting people get rich off your backside just because you're not smart enough to not want what they're offering. That's what we talk about in other areas of life. Don't take everything everyone gives you. Just like on Halloween, you don't take all the candy that's given to you. Some stuff you got to siphon through and throw away. Some people want to poison certain things. Not everything's good for you. And we just taking any old bag, desperate and stupid. And what ends up happening? Bad consequences. Reverberating consequences that hurt others. For what, man? And you end up regretting it. And you sit up and you say things like, man, I wish I would have known better. Well, you're being told better. And you're ignoring it. That's pretty much what I got to say about that, man. You got to stop letting people get rich off your back when they don't mean you no good. They don't mean you no good. He'd just as well see you burn in hell and put that on camera if he could, man. It's not harmless. That's all I'm trying to express. It is not harmless. No jumper is a cancer to this community, and we know that. We know that. This is something we've talked about many times. Regardless of what his intentions are, and regardless of how many opportunities he's giving y'all. Opportunities to do what? It's a question. When people losing their life out here over this nonsense. Opportunities to do what? That's all I'm saying. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.